この周りをぐるぐる走るときにどれぐらい走るかできてましたよね。
できてます。
あれどれぐらい走れたんでしたっけ。
140、50キロ。
140、50キロ。
はい。
For a country living in the literal future, Japan remains surprisingly hesitant when it comes to adopting electric vehicles. Despite global momentum toward battery-powered cars, EVs made up just a tiny fraction of new car sales in Japan last year, with local giants like Toyota and Honda still betting heavily on hybrids. But now, a tiny disruptor is making waves. This tiny $7,000 EV is taking over Japan. We're talking about the Mibot, an ultra-compact, single-seat electric vehicle developed by Japanese startup KG Motors. So, is it over for Toyota? Well, let's start from the very beginning. KG Motors. Background and vision. KG Motors was founded in June 2022 by Kazunari Kusunoki, a native of Higashi Hiroshima, a suburban area in Japan's Hiroshima prefecture. The town, like many others across rural Japan, has roads so narrow that even standard sedans often struggle to maneuver. Kusunoki, who is now 43 years old, witnessed firsthand the growing limitations of Japan's transport system, especially in the country's aging and shrinking communities. He saw a distinct mismatch between the oversized, high-tech cars flooding global markets and the very specific, practical needs of Japan's overlooked rural and suburban populations. The turning point for Kusunoki came not from a corporate boardroom or engineering lab, but from his background as a YouTube content creator. Before founding KG Motors, he spent years producing online videos, which gave him a direct line to how everyday people thought about vehicles, cities, and movement. This grassroots connection allowed him to spot a growing frustration. While Japanese automakers were competing with global rivals on luxury, power, and range, many citizens, especially the elderly, were struggling to find practical, affordable ways to get from one place to another within their own neighborhoods. Taxi shortages, declining bus services, and depopulation in many towns had created a vacuum in local mobility. Kusunoki saw an opportunity to fill that void, not with large, complex EVs, but with something radically different, a minimal, ultra-compact electric vehicle. Thus, KG Motors positioned itself as a company focused on functionality and efficiency rather than conventional automotive prestige. Japan's EV adoption rate remains notably low compared to other industrialized nations. In 2023, electric vehicles accounted for only around 3.5% of all new car sales in Japan. By comparison, the global average was about 18%. Even as Chinese companies like BYD delivered over 4.3 million EVs worldwide in 2024, their Japanese market share was minimal, with only about 2,023 units sold locally that year. Toyota, the country's automotive titan, managed to sell only around 2,000 EVs across all of Japan in the same period. The Japanese market has long prioritized hybrid technologies, particularly due to Toyota's influential multi-pathway strategy. Kusunoki's vision, however, diverged sharply from these industry norms. His answer to the situation? The Maybot. Design and technical specifications of the Maybot. The Maybot measures just 2,090 millimeters, or approximately 98 inches in length, making it one of the shortest four-wheeled electric vehicles on the global market. Its height remains under 1.5 meters, enhancing its maneuverability and compactness in the notoriously narrow lanes of suburban Japan. These dimensions were intentionally selected to make the Maybot smaller than even traditional Japanese K cars, which are themselves compact by international standards. This extreme size reduction allows the vehicle to function effectively where conventional cars, particularly larger EVs, would be obstructed by space limitations. Under the hood, the Maybot is powered by a modest electric motor supported by a lithium-ion battery pack. The technical specs are deliberately conservative. The vehicle offers a range of up to 100 kilometers or 62 miles per full charge, and can reach a maximum speed of 60 kilometers per hour, or about 37 miles per hour. While these figures pale in comparison to the performance benchmarks of full-sized electric sedans or crossovers, the Maybot's purpose is hyper-local mobility, not long-distance travel. Charging is equally efficient. The vehicle requires just 5 hours to charge fully using a standard home outlet, which eliminates the need for dedicated fast-charging infrastructure. This is a crucial factor in rural areas where such facilities are often non-existent. Structurally, the Maybot features a monocoque chassis, a single shell frame that provides structural rigidity without the need for an internal skeleton. This design minimizes the number of separate parts required, thus reducing both material usage and assembly complexity. The monocoque frame, often reserved for high-performance or lightweight vehicles in the aerospace and motorsport sectors, is repurposed here to cut costs and increase efficiency. The Maybot incorporates only the most essential components: a battery unit, an electric motor, steering mechanisms, a brake system, and basic electronics for lighting and control. The dashboard and interior are stripped to their absolute essentials, reinforcing the idea that this vehicle is a tool, not a luxury product. Perhaps the most distinctive aspect of the Maybot's design is its single-seat layout. Unlike most passenger vehicles, even micro EVs like the Smart EQ or Nissan's Sakura, which typically offer 2 or more seats, the Maybot is designed exclusively for individual users. Kazunari Kusunoki envisioned the Maybot as a personal pod for short-distance travel, particularly for elderly residents, delivery workers, and people living in small towns with dwindling public transportation. With Japan's aging population and declining birth rate, such demographic-focused engineering is not only relevant but increasingly necessary. The car does not attempt to be everything to everyone. It's targeted, specific, and deliberately so. The compact footprint and simplified internal systems make the Maybot extraordinarily lightweight. Although exact weight figures have not been disclosed publicly by KG Motors as of mid-2025, it is estimated that the vehicle weighs significantly under 400 kilograms, placing it in the same category as light quadricycles or moped minicars. This extreme weight reduction serves 2 purposes. First, it ensures that the motor and battery can perform adequately even with modest specifications. And second, it drastically lowers production and material costs. The result is a retail price of just 1 million yen, or approximately $7,000, before taxes, a fraction of the cost of even Japan's most affordable mainstream EVs. For comparison, the Nissan Sakura, the best-selling EV in Japan, starts at 2.5 million yen or $17,000, while upcoming models from BYD are projected to enter the Japanese market around the same price point. Beyond personal use, the Maybot's design also makes it attractive to certain commercial sectors. According to KG Motors, a significant share of its pre-orders, out of the 2,250 units reserved, have come from rental companies and local delivery services. In places such as the Fuji 5 Lakes region, similar mini EVs have already been used by tour operators for low-impact transport. 7-Eleven Japan, one of the few large-scale adopters of such vehicles, uses comparable moped minicars for deliveries in urban neighborhoods. The Maybot, with its minimal electrical system and low maintenance requirements, aligns with these practical demands. Its design eliminates the need for complex software, touchscreens, or in-car connectivity. It is not a car for highways or intercity travel. It is a mobility solution tailored to the Japanese context of aging societies, narrow roads, and shrinking budgets. Market strategy and pricing. KG Motors has adopted a sharply focused, cost-driven market strategy that positions the Maybot as a disruptive alternative to conventional and even compact electric vehicles in Japan. Priced at just $7,000 before taxes, the Maybot is aimed at a price-sensitive segment of consumers long underserved by the electric vehicle market. By offering the Maybot at such a low entry point, KG Motors is making a strategic play to broaden EV accessibility across Japan's socio-economic and geographic divides. The company's pricing strategy is deeply intertwined with its target audience, which differs markedly from that of Japan's traditional automotive giants. Rather than aiming for middle-class urban families or tech-savvy early adopters, KG Motors is zeroing in on more utilitarian segments. These include rural homeowners, especially elderly individuals who often lack reliable public transportation, urban residents who need a compact, maneuverable personal mobility option for navigating Japan's notoriously narrow city streets, and individuals looking for a secondary, highly affordable vehicle for short-distance use. In a country where more than 29% of the population is aged 65 or older, and where thousands of small towns face shrinking populations and limited infrastructure investment, this demographic targeting is not only logical, it may prove vital. The early market response has been encouraging. After opening reservations in the fall of 2024, KG Motors received more than 1,000 pre-orders in the first month alone. By May 2025, the pre-order count had climbed to 2,250 units. These figures are notable given the company's planned production volume. KG Motors aims to deliver 3,300 units by the end of March 2027, meaning over two-thirds of its near-term supply has already been claimed. In contrast, Toyota, the country's largest car maker, sold only about 2,000 battery electric vehicles domestically in all of 2024. In the same year, BYD managed to surpass Toyota with 2,200 units sold, signaling both the hesitancy of Japanese brands and the growing interest among Japanese consumers. Moreover, the Maybot's rollout has been structured in carefully planned phases. The first batch of 300 units is scheduled to be delivered by March 2026, nearly 4 years after KG Motors' founding in June 2022. The company has been transparent about its financial expectations. It anticipates incurring a loss on this first batch due to the high fixed costs of low-volume manufacturing. However, profitability is expected to begin with the second production cycle, allowing the company to refine its processes and scale up more efficiently. Looking beyond the initial phase, KG Motors has set an ambitious target: an annual production capacity of 10,000 Maybot units. Such a figure, while modest by global automotive standards, would position the company to become one of the leading producers of ultra-compact EVs in Japan. It would also give the Maybot a chance to compete meaningfully with established K cars, which dominate more than half of Japan's vehicle market. Although the Maybot does not qualify as a K car under Japanese regulations, falling instead into the moped minicar category due to its limited speed and single-seat layout, its size and function still make it a potential competitor in this dominant segment. A substantial portion of the pre-orders thus far have come from commercial entities rather than private individuals. For example, several rental tour companies operating in the Fuji 5 Lakes area have placed early orders, citing the vehicle's compactness and low operating cost as ideal for local tourism. Similarly, delivery service providers such as 7-Eleven, which already deploys moped minicars in various regions, are exploring the Maybot for last-mile logistics. These commercial applications could provide the steady, scalable demand needed to sustain production, even if individual consumer adoption remains modest in the early years. Moreover, the Maybot is limited to a single passenger, the driver, and may not be operated on roads that require vehicles with more than 125cc engine capacity. It is also legally restricted to a top speed of 60 km per hour or 37 miles per hour, and may only be driven by individuals who hold a full Japanese driver's license, typically obtained at age 18 or older. Personal ownership of moped minicars is exceedingly rare. Besides the use of micro EVs for local deliveries, rental tour companies around regions like the Fuji 5 Lakes have begun to adopt compact EVs for scenic drives. This pattern suggests that while the Maybot's low price and maneuverability are advantageous, its legal limitations may restrict its use in mainstream daily commuting. The Maybot is also perfectly suitable for Japan's aging and shrinking rural populations. In many depopulating towns and villages, public transportation is sparse or non-existent, and taxi services are prohibitively expensive or unavailable. Scooters and bicycles are often used, but they offer little protection from the weather and can be hazardous for older drivers. The Maybot could represent a safer, more dignified mobility option for elderly residents or low-income individuals needing to complete essential errands safely and affordably. This demographic represents a growing social concern in Japan, where more than 29% of the population is aged 65 and over, and many rural areas face rapid depopulation and service withdrawal. KG Motors has also taken a digital-first approach to outreach. Kazunari Kusunoki previously ran a YouTube channel dedicated to automotive and tech content, giving him a built-in platform to promote the Maybot to an audience already interested in micro-mobility. This grassroots, online-driven marketing model contrasts sharply with the traditional dealership-based distribution strategies of major automakers. By building awareness through social media and digital content, KG Motors is not only promoting the Maybot as a product, but also engaging in culture-shifting dialogue around what mobility should look like in Japan's future. But is it even safe for the public? Testing, safety, and regulations. KG Motors has subjected the Maybot to an extensive suite of tests designed to meet Japan's exacting safety and regulatory standards. Part of this commitment involved comprehensive crash testing to satisfy Japan's safety certification process, overseen by the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport and Tourism. As part of its pre-production regimen, KG Motors publicly posted footage showing the Maybot crashing into concrete barriers at high speed, a clear indication that structural integrity and occupant protection were primary engineering goals. These controlled high-speed collisions help verify that the monocoque chassis, designed as a single shell unit to simplify construction and reduce mass, can absorb impact forces effectively, maintaining cabin integrity during accidents. Beyond controlled crashes, KG Motors has also tested the Maybot in extreme environmental conditions to confirm its operational resilience. Engineers conducted cold weather trials on snowy, icy roads in Hokkaido, Japan's northernmost island, where temperatures frequently dip below freezing. Real-world winter testing is essential in Hokkaido, a region prone to harsh climate and heavy snowfall. Equally important has been urban navigation testing in tight, historically preserved neighborhoods, such as those in Kyoto and Hiroshima Prefecture. The Maybot's compact dimensions, just 2,190 millimeters in length and under 1.5 meters in height, are well suited for narrow alleys, but KG Motors went further, running the vehicle through streets packed closely with traditional wooden homes. The car's single-seat design and lightweight build haven't compromised the rigorous evaluation of its structural and mechanical components. Indeed, KG Motors is in the process of finalizing vehicle safety certification to prepare for commercial launch from its Higashi Hiroshima facility. This testing regimen is notable because it demonstrates that even ultra-compact micro-EVs can, and must, meet high safety standards to be road legal in Japan. While larger EVs come equipped with extensive safety features like multiple airbags, crumple zones, and advanced driver assistance systems, the Maybot champions simplicity through engineering, international implications, and future expansion. KG Motors plans to export 3,000 of its initially modest Maybot run, after fulfilling the first 300 domestic deliveries, slated by March 2026, to international markets. This expansion, expected from 2026 to 2027, aligns with the rising global demand for ultra-compact EVs in aging or congested urban areas. Cities in Europe, North America, and parts of Asia face similar demographic and infrastructural challenges as rural Japan: shrinking populations, narrow streets, and limited parking. In response, several automakers, like Switzerland's Micro-Mobility with its Microlino bubble car, Italy's Renault with the Twizy, and France's Citroën Ami, are rolling out comparable micro-EVs, validating KG Motors' focus. Beyond addressing similar environmental and spatial constraints, expansion hinges on consumer acceptance of a scaled-down mobility model. The global micro-EV market, valued at around $8.9 billion, is projected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of approximately 10.8% through 2031, potentially reaching over $24 billion by 2031 to 2032. These vehicles, compact, low-range, and economic, are gaining traction in dense urban hubs like Paris, Berlin, Tokyo, and Shanghai. With 68% of the world population expected to live in cities by 2050, micro-EVs are positioned to capture demand driven by rising urbanization and growing environmental pressures. KG Motors is not operating in isolation. Chinese automakers, notably BYD, have announced plans to launch a K-Class EV in Japan by late 2026. South Korea's Hyundai has already introduced low-cost EVs targeting tight Japanese city spaces. This emerging competition suggests a broader industry pivot, where cost-effective micro-EVs could redefine consumer expectations and challenge the dominance of multifunctional hybrids or large SUVs. If the Maybot succeeds, it may catalyze further market entrances from global competitors focusing on hyper-local mobility. Yet the path forward is complex. Mybots, as moped minicars, face several regulatory and practical constraints that limit their mainstream appeal. Legally, they are restricted to a single passenger, cannot traverse roads requiring over 125cc vehicles, and are capped at 60 km per hour. A valid full Japanese driver's license, which is granted at age 18, is also required. While K-Class EVs like the Sakura comfortably support families and longer hauls, Mybots cater narrowly to solo, short-distance trips. Real-world deployment patterns reflect this niche positioning. According to commentary from residents with over 15 years in Japan, private ownership of moped minicars remains rare. Most known deployments are commercial. These practical and legal limitations could prevent broader family or commuter adoption, which consequently may stall long-term growth if reliance remains confined to fleet usage rather than private ownership. Even within this controlled context, risks persist. The early buzz surrounding the Maybot may ultimately reflect temporary enthusiasm rather than lasting market viability, especially as families continue to prioritize cargo space, seating flexibility, and freeway-capable performance. Moreover, Japan's entrenched trust in hybrid technology among Toyota, Honda, and Nissan, and consumer hesitancy towards radical mobility shifts could slow the Maybot's journey toward mainstream acceptance. Despite these challenges, the Maybot remains a strategic experiment with far-reaching implications. It reframes what mobility can mean. For rural homeowners or older city residents facing shrinking transit options, Maybot offers affordable dignity and autonomy, where scooters or walking fall short. If 10,000 unit annual production is realized, KG Motors may not dethrone automotive giants, but it could successfully carve out a new segment for ultra-local, low-cost EVs. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Did you like this video? If you did, please consider liking, dropping a comment, and hitting the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on our new uploads. Also, Don't miss this video you see on your screen right now. It's truly unbelievable.